We are my great friends. We work together. In fact, Mr. Warick and I represent on Home Ministry's National Committee for Hospitals and Nursing Homes. And we are debating a lot on this subject. Nikhil, I work with him. I remember working with Mr. Srinivas right from the Tetra Pak very first projects. I came across to FM Global Standards around 2008 for McCain facility, and from that day, FM has become passion for my life. Not for any other reason, but for the common sense and practical approach what they have. I think we need to understand so many things, and that's where we chose this subject: built-in protection, fire-safe solutions with sandwich panels. So now, to start with, to start chat, I'll ask Warick sir. Sir, I think I'm just coming from the association meeting, and one gentleman was commenting that there is no clarity on use of sandwich panels in built environment in India, and I have to clarify him. We all need to first understand and study National Building Code from part 0 to part 12. Part 4 is just for only for say fire. So what exactly we should pick up? You've been active member last time also 2016 amendment of National Building Code, and now upcoming 2025 amendment. So what we as industry should take for sandwich panels from National Building Code and part 4?
So basically, part 4 of National Building Code that talks about fire and life safety for all types of occupancies, what we handle during our everyday's life, right from your residence to storage activity, hazardous activity, business activity, then your education, institutional activities. So table 1 of part 4 of National Building Code, which talks about the type of type 1, type 2, type 3 and type 4 of construction. That is the guidelines issued by the part 4 of National Building Code for making the building safe from fire as well as during its entire life. So in that specific table itself, for all high-rise building and hazardous industries, type 1 and type 2 type of construction is recommended, which is normally 4 hours or 2 hours fire rating is required. And when we talk about the rating, they have given for the flooring, the sides, the load-bearing capacities, and all means components of the buildings are highlighted in that particular table. So that table is very much loud and clear. Unfortunately, when we talk about multinationals, or the insurance companies coming with that particular multinationals, they go as per their own standards. So NBC is the minimum requirement, but as and when somebody is coming from US or somebody is coming from European countries, they go as per their own standards, which are much above the National Building Code requirements. And that time they really do the analysis of the process, the risk assessment, the hazard classification, everything is done as per their own standards. And they do the proper compartmentation, which is very much important from the life safety point of view and from the containment of fire point of view. So that compartmentation as per the National Building Code, 4.5 talks about that. And it is minimum 2 hours fire rating is required from the all sides. All your walls and doors should have minimum 2 hours fire rating. And that rating, unfortunately, fire officers, they are not qualified to test that. So we have to rely upon the test labs. So CBRI, Roorkee or any other good test labs should certify that the rating is 2 hours. And then only we can think about that it will really perform in real emergencies. Whatever the presentation we saw in the morning, the after effect of fire, the entire industry or steel material is buckling down, and that is creating hazard for the firefighters also, which are going inside for dosing the fire or carrying out the rescue operation. So considering not only the business continuity or contentment, but from the safety of the firefighters also, we have to think about it. And we have
there is much clarity.
much clarity.
But I want to
given.
make a point here for entire audience. Please stop cursing this country that we don't know anything. I'm coming to Nikhil, he's looking at me like this because there was one very good comment from Warick sir. So there are basic standards which are very good. We draw our standards, especially fire standards, from our connections to Great Britain. So, and then good adoption has been always been sort of taken care of. So you mentioned something which Nikhil, as a risk assessor, risk auditor, and a multinational sort of representative, plus I think Yasser said 33% of Fortune 1000 people are being insured by people like FM Global. We'll take the same thing because in our industry, brokers are consultants and insurance companies are like our suppliers. So Nikhil, to answer sir, those companies bring, when it is very clear now that there are basic standards, there is law of land. So when these companies come from, say, abroad with their own risk management strategy, do you feel that they serve, in sense, first of all, they are non-compliant with law of land? Of course, their requirements may or may not have better performance than what NBC is. What is your normal observation when you visit, say, thousands of industries? In your entire life, you must have done 1,000 risk audits. So what is your say on this?
Thank you. Thank you, Abhijit. By the way, he's Abhijit and not Abasaheb for me. And as you said that I am knowing him for last 20 years. Now, to answer his question, it's a mixed bag, you know. We have seen industries where the multinational bring with them their own culture, but there are some also which say that, look, we would be designing our new project, or for that matter, the existing facilities and upgrades to IBC, that is the International Building Code. Now, it might not necessarily be equal to NBC. At many places, we have seen that it is much, in some instances, much inferior to NBC. The challenge in all this is, as Warick Sahib said, that yes, Part 4, Table 1 do specify the requirements of 2 hours and 4 hours rating. The challenge is, the rating is on what basis? And I heard Yasser saying that FM has come up with a approval standard which will give the rating of their panels.
I congratulated him.
Yes, and I now congratulate Abasaheb when he made that representation that those panels are having ASTM E119 fire rating. The reason I say that is class 1 panels. Now, make no mistake, what I am saying is these are excellent panels, and that's the reason we are all here, right? When it comes to acoustic insulation, when it comes to cold insulation, when it comes to general manufacturing practices, GMP requirements, cleanliness, excellent panels. But when it comes to allied risks which they bring in terms of fire and smoke, that's the challenge. Now, I have seen certificates. I'll give an anecdote. I was visiting a location outside India, mind you, and we had recommended the client there to have a 2-hour fire-rated door, not a wall as such, but you can imagine how things go. The certificate says 2-hour fire rating. We dug into that test certificate, and I was surprised to see the certificate was given purely based on Bunsen burner was, rotated 2 times on the frame of the door and given a 2-hour fire rating. So, I mean, my request to Warick Sahib would be that, we should have some very specific things mentioned so that this ambiguity in the local codes is reduced or not there.
Nikhil, one thing which I just wanted for understanding clearly, Warick sir used a very apt word, resilience. Now, when you assess how, because people normally think the Sahyadri example which Yasser presented, I had to create that story because see, unless and until you understand the money exposure, you don't understand things. The 27 lakhs rupees can reduce the loss to very basic minimum. So can you just quickly throw how you look at this calculation? It's not purely technical, but how commercial aspects add value for taking decisions to go for such good products.
So I think when I just came in, Yasser was presenting that slide. He did mention about he showed a graph of 80 crores or something, right? So it is very simple. In pure financial terms, we call it as return on investment, right? But when it comes to loss prevention or risk management, return on investment could become a vague concept. So then what we came up with, which is called as a cost-benefit analysis. Now what is this cost-benefit analysis? Is nothing but a flavor of return on investment, but purely in terms of what is the expected loss which can get reduced from the current level to say a bare minimum level. And if we want to bring that cost or the loss expectancies to that level, what is the investment I am making for? So it is cost to the reduction of loss expected is the ratio. Now if that ratio is anywhere between 10 to 15%, globally it is an accepted standard that it is a good way to invest in risk management. So good question, and in fact he asked, I mean, I'm working on a live project, a high-tech industry, semicon fab, first time in India coming up in Gujarat, and it's such a live project. Incidentally, I had a call with them yesterday and we were debating upon, again, 4882, 4880 and all that. I would not go into the detail of it. And then I was telling that whatever decisions you take, you don't take purely on the investment per se, but because of this investment, right? What is the expected loss which can come down if there is an event? And more so before that, because it is an high-tech industry, again, because I come from an insurance industry, we always tell clients to also look at whether the insurance company can give you extensions which can give you underwrite your risk. Because if the insurance company for some reason cannot write the risk, the entire risk will come onto the profit and loss account of the company, right? And if the profit and loss statement or the balance sheet cannot take that loss, then the resiliency comes into picture.
Great. So I think you all must have one doubt now. यार ये सब है तो जो है PU PIR उसका क्या करेंगे? I'll come to Warick sir. Sir, I think you get this, especially somebody mentioned about cold storage fire. So what is clarity on this subject whether it is existing location where you already use combustible panels or say for that concept low combustible panels, and it requires say non-combustible. So how you as policy decision taker or executor, reinforcement agency look at this?
So means normally cold storages are concerned majority of the times. The issue is we issue the provisional fire approval wherein we recommend all the requirement as per the National Building Code, and the building is constructed, and the first document while getting OC or occupancy of the building, that is again final fire approval. That time they start searching the provisions of the fire NOCs and the requirement, and then building is already constructed. Now how to put the sprinkler inside the cold storage, that is a question mark. Then if I penetrate that panels, then insulation will...
Especially sir, on core side, insulation core side.
Yeah, so it becomes very difficult at that time to take a call. So once the provisional NOC and building plan approval is done, that time only we have to think about the compartmentation and the proper rating of the panels. Then only it will work in long times, because you are investing for 30-50 years for the building, and that initial cost may be little bit more, maybe 10-15%, but in long terms it will give you call. Unfortunately, the incidences what we have in Thane Belapur or in Taloja, they are very alarming, the fire gets spread from one compartment to another, and sometimes the fire means in cold storages, we have fought for 15-20 days also. So it is a total loss kind of a scenario.
So we are up. I think this is extra time. We'll in advance thank you them. You go ahead.
10 seconds. So Warick Sahib makes a case in point here. He said that fire transfers spreads from one compartment to other simply because the panels, whether it is a sandwich panel of any core, as I said earlier, it could be class 1 but not necessarily have that fire rating. And that's where ASTM E119 becomes important. Similarly, it is, I think, UL 263, NFPA 251, and now with the new FM approval standard. Very important that if the panels are sold as fire rated, we need to ensure that a proper testing is done.
Yes.
Thank you.
So, as association, I have already given them suggestion that first of all, there should be clarity on reaction to fire. I have normal one slide in my presentation. ये सब मैं एक जगह पे लिखता हूँ और बोलता है अभिमन्यु जैसा हो जाता है. But then we'll have as association, as manufacturers, as ecosystem players, understand one thing. From morning, I am repeating this Greenfield Tower fire. 8 साल का उनका ये है पूरा investment. Listen to Major, His Highness Major Martin's verdict. You will say मेरा क्या होगा? Why I am important? If it goes into law of land and then local courts and all, you are responsible for supplying non-compliant product. So please be aware. Don't say कि this is industry standard. Client ने मंगाया था, ये किया था, वो किया था. Take it seriously. The homework is follow Greenfield. You understand your stand in ecosystem. I think Nikhil, you wanted to say something.
Sorry, I cannot hold back. That's the reason I am saying. Because of that Greenfield Tower, I think BS 476, yeah. Right? I think both the houses of UK has ratified it. They are withdrawing. I don't know the status. Even if they are not withdrawing, the status in India, we are accepting it. My request will be 476 needs to be relooked when it comes to giving approval rating.
More than that, I think we all, including authorities, risk assessors, say I represent manufacturers or industry, we all need to sit and understand because life is precious. Thank you so much for your patience, and I hope we could deliver some message. We have 8 minutes for question answers. इतना भी तो डराया नहीं कि भाई इससे वो लोग. Yes sir. Can you please help with mic?
Hello. Yeah. This is Vinod Purohit. I'm from Canon, and we are providing end-to-end solution for making sandwich plan. So there is one confusion because since morning I'm listening different kind of specification, and someone was telling that polyurethane is not so effective. So with one of technology, which is a patented technology, in the polyurethane, we are infusing the expandable graphite. And then, as far as fire standard and smoke standard is concerned, that panel follows and meeting all the requirement for EN 45545, which is a European standard, and Indian Railway they are also using for those kind of specification. So I am little bit confused. The specification what you are, and is there comparison between the EN 45545 and the specification what FM suggests and the ASTM 119? If you can give the clarity, so I think it's a good idea.
I think great question. I am being ranting about ASTM E119. Now, ASTM E119 will only give a fire rating. Now the question I think what is before fire rating whether those panels can be classified as class 1. Now if that is the case, then depending upon the application, whether it is a normal clean room of 10,000 or 1 lakh or a clean room of high-tech standard or injectables getting filled, probably then you would need a panel of 482 rating where Yasser said that fire flame spread index is I think 6, and smoke development index is 0.4. That much of a lesser smoke rating. So unless those panels are tested for full scale testing, Yasser must have told you 10-15 times full scale testing. Abasaheb, Abhijit I heard mentioned about it 2 times. So unless those panels are tested completely, right, the 20-foot, 25-feet corner test, or now the FM's testing, they call it as a parallel panel test. Only
Nikhil,
after that.
I think he was referring to something else, if I understood you correctly. Sir, one thing, just see, if you are building a asset here, it has to follow law of land. And he is the authority to give you, first of all, conditional no objection certificate, and you have to go as per that. If you confuse the other standards in other countries and here, there's a confusion. The first compliance has to be with local standards. And then we can debate, because see, in fire, why FM has their own standards, we can discuss it separately. Why countries like the entire 47 series in India, EN 13501, 2 and all those things are different approaches, different philosophies. So I have one very good slide for you, which I will show you, wherein you get clarity. For any asset, first there is architect team of fire risk assessors, everything they sit. These guys give loss drivers, they are getting featured into strategy, solutions, executions and all. So I'll share that with you. But very valid and very important question. Thank you.
Very much.
Anybody else? Yes, Sarjal. First row.
Hello. Yeah. So my question is to Warick sir. A little bit more explanation about this cold storages or frozen stores with fire sprinklers. That's an area where there has been a lot of talk, a lot of gray zone, so to say. So where is that at this stage, and are we at a point where we know exactly what is to be done?
So I'll just simplify for him कि -20 कोल्ड स्टोरेज में आग लगती है क्या? ये हमारा वहम है कि लगती नहीं है, आप बोलते हो लगती है, सर क्लैरिफाई करो क्यों लगती है?
And what is the final solution that we can do, because water cannot stay in the pipe?
For that, if you go through IS 15105 for sprinklers, dry sprinklers are recommended. So these are the available solutions. Internationally also it is acceptable as per NAPA 13. So these solutions are already available for the minus applications where water cannot be used. And in case of a fire, it can be W-sure by utilizing detection system or with sprinklers, and water can follow once the fire is detected. So that application is very much in use for different cold storage applications. Only unfortunate thing is we don't plan it in advance, and we come up with at later stage we wanted to have cold storage over here. And retrofittation is a major challenge, what I could see.
I'll tell one thing. First of all, fire होती है minus इसमें 100% होती है. You have seen with your own eyes, Savla, I think Turbek fire was going on for 2 months. So definitely होते हैं. And then there are solutions. Only thing, people don't get into details and they get into problems later. Yes, Nikhil, we need to close in 2 minutes.
So there are 3 more options. If the pipes are run at the heat, if the pipes are run in the heated area, not in the refrigerated area, you can still go with wet pipe systems. 1. Second, you can have ethylene glycol in the pipe, which does not freeze, because the freezing point once you put ethylene glycol or propylene glycol, it is -52. So till that temperature it can work. And third is you can give a heat trace system wherein you can always heat the pipe. The wire goes along the pipe, it gets heated, and to ensure that the pipe temperature does not go below 4 degrees. So there are options, and as he rightly said, there are options in international standard. IS 15130 also mentions that.
Great. So we are on time. सिर्फ आग देखते मत रहो.
Sorry.
उसकी
One question, quick add-on question. There is something called the deluge valve. Is that allowed? Is that not allowed? It is allowed. Okay.
Nikhil has engineered a couple of systems. We can take it up with him.
Sure.
The answer is yes. Yeah. There is a deluge valve for that system because it is a double interlock pre-action system.
Great. So 0 हमने टाइम पे ख़त्म किया. प्लीज़ हमारे लिए तालियां बजाइए. We're the first to finish on time, but nevertheless, before time, nevertheless, I'd like to congratulate Ajay again for giving us this opportunity. Please take fire seriously. It's not your choice. It's somebody else's life's question. I mean, you are not the decision taker for my life. If I'm sitting here in this hotel property, it is their responsibility to protect my life. We sign off on this note. Thank you for great audience.